Wake up, London. We are back live from the Gfinity Arena. It is time for our third match of the day. OpTic Nation is about to take on Epsilon, and coming into the day, we said Epsilon, the team to watch if a European squad was going to make an upset. Already, they're 1-for-1 with Infused, taking out Elevate. How do you feel about Epsilon now taking on Nation?
I do think, given even despite their performance yesterday, which was obviously incredibly impressive, taking out Rise in the final match 3-0, it's going to be so hard to replicate that. I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but they're coming up against Nation, who they've had a decent run of form recently. Aside from the past UMG event online, they're playing well consistently. Online tournaments in the league, of course, they're doing fairly well. They're averaging mid-table, I think, and obviously at this event, the fact that they've made it out of, some people might not have even predicted them to make it out of pool play. So they've exceeded expectations in that regard. It's going to be hard for Epsilon, as I said, to just come out with the same intensity that they did yesterday.
Epsilon, they've taken out Rise Nation. That's how they got into our top 8. Now they're fighting for top 4. Talk to me a little bit more about the squad, Gunchy. You know these players in and out. Mad Cat, kind of the standout player that we've talked about, I think, the most here at the Top Man Analyst desk. But if it's not Mad Cat, who are you watching from this Epsilon lineup?
Well, so far in this tournament, we've been looking at Joe quite a lot. He's not a player that usually pops up on top of your head when you think of the best players in this team, but Joe's certainly been one of the players that has been playing a lot better than what he usually does. But Epsilon's that kind of team where they could have 2 days where they're really playing really well, and then one day they'll just come out really flat. So today I'm just looking out for, I think, if they take this first map, I think they'll just be so hyped and just go. That'll carry the momentum through the game. So that's what I'm looking for. But like Swanee said with OpTic Nation, this team has really come along a long way since when at the start of the game they were bottom of the league, stuff like that for 2 seasons, along with Mr. Swanee
Nice
over
one,
here.
mate. Thanks for bringing that up. Cheers.
But no, I'm looking at OpTic Nation now, and I do think it's a completely different team, completely different mentality, and they're looking good to get another top 4 at this event.
Well, you said Joe is the player to watch. I added him to my Vulcan.com fantasy lineup today. But overall, we got to bring it back here. Big picture. Here's a look at where we stand in the bracket, guys. 4 matches in your quarterfinals. 2 of them are complete. We still have 2 more to go. Nation takes on Epsilon now. After this, we'll see OpTic Gaming facing off against Tommy and Team Vitality. And, of course, that $50,000 first place prize is still on the line for the grand final. Everyone hoping to see a FaZe Clan versus OpTic Gaming rematch. But honestly, I wouldn't be upset about any of those other matches that could potentially occur. If Infused makes a surprise appearance there in the grand finals, shout out to the European squads. But let's start off by introducing you to our lineups, starting with OpTic Gaming here. Swanee, break down the the OpTic Nation lineup. Break down this ON team.
All right, you've got the captain, who's largely regarded as the captain, Embos, Money B. He's sort of the SMG objective. All he's doing, he's getting in hills. He's sort of S&D, I think he rises to prominence. I think that's probably his best game mode. But in terms of strategy, that's all down to Ricky. I think Ricky's sort of, I've been surprised at Ricky actually, because he's regarded as somewhat of a quiet guy outside of game, but in game I think he's largely one of the reasons why OpTic Nation is succeeding, because he's constantly bringing that motivation, bringing that hype. His teammate's going to shoot someone in the back, he's telling them, oh, that was the best kill I've ever seen. He's just giving your teammates that extra motivation. That helps so much in game. Mochilla, the most recent pickup, obviously the AR, regarded as somewhat of a statue like myself, I think it's fair to compare each other. He's just going to be locking down the spawns. He's got an insane shot. He's the one who's just going to be not anchoring, but providing that long-range cover for his teammates. And Miracles, of course, the former Freako impact guy, notorious SMG. He can kind of do a bit of everything, and he's a huge team player as well.
Of course, Miracles, he's also kind of that in-game hype man. He's the one who is going to be your emotional leader if they start getting fired up. Embo's had a pretty solid tournament so far, but really I think it has been that addition of Moch that has taken Nation from where they were to where they are right now. They're looking for another top 4 finish. We'll find out if they can get it. But they got to get through this lineup. Let's look at Epsilon as a whole. You see Mad Cat there on the far left of your screen. He's going to be sitting next to Reedy. And, of course, Rated is going to be at the end of the booth. For me, it's been Reedy and Rated, the 2 players to watch, because you kind of know what you're getting out of Mad Cat. You know what you're going to get out of Joe. But these 2 have had their ups and downs throughout the weekend.
Yeah, they have been a little bit inconsistent for my liking. I'd like to see Rated step up to how he plays online. Online over the past 4 or 5 months, he's been, it's fair to say, quite dominant in Europe. And Reedy's just an all-round. He's a good person to have in the team. He's not going to backchat you. He's not going to cause arguments. He's a very stable player, but he needs to be more consistent in game for them to really progress through this tournament.
I'm hoping we see, I think it was Reedy, had 4 kills in the first 5 minutes of Solar.
He was 4 and 25.
Second time he played, he dropped 44 on the same exact map. I'm hoping we're seeing that second Reedy coming into today. But let's look at our key player matchup here. We're looking at Miracles going up against Joe. And Miracles, a huge advantage in the search and destroys. Look at this. He has 42% of OpTic Nation's search and destroy kills throughout the event. A 2.82, one of the best performances we have seen throughout search and destroy all weekend. In fact, he leads all players at this point in the tournament.
I think OpTic Nation, S&D particularly, it's interesting that we've highlighted that because I think that is their best game mode. And should they have a chance of winning the series, they're going to need it. So Epsilon are going to need to snatch, one or even the final S&D should it go. In terms of respawns, the contrast is the fact that OpTic Nation, they're not really regarded as sort of superstar slayers by any means. It's all about the teamwork, all about just working together. In many respects, at multiple events, multiple league matches, they've been outslayed in Hardpoints, they've been outslayed in the Uplinks, in respawns in general, but they've still managed to pull out the win. Epsilon, in contrast, there is a superstar player, Madcat, obviously, who's largely been the contributing factor when it comes to their respawn performance.
Do you still feel that European teams are behind in the Uplink, and can you see OpTic Nation taking this one?
That's an interesting question, mate. Given the fact that I sort of, from what I've seen, yeah, I think European teams are still slower in Uplink. I think they're a lot less clinical, they're a lot less decisive. By no means do they get outslayed. They make the kills, but it's just when it comes to sort of, this is sort of something we've seen for you know yourself whenever we've competed in America on for years and years, numerous occasions. It's just the fact that Europeans are just that 1-2 seconds slower at making decisions. So, for example, when they get the kills, they're not pushing up as quickly. They're not grabbing the ball as quickly as American teams. They seem to punish you a lot more for it.
And it really is one of them game types where Americans seem to capitalize on your little mistakes and then they just make the most of it and run away with the game. I've seen it so many times with European teams.
To put it bluntly, honestly, I think it's just more teamwork orientated than Hardpoint. Hardpoint is just pure kills, and that obviously benefits Epsilon when they've got Madkai who's putting up a consistent 35, 40 a map. Uplink, it's largely dependent on communication, on teamwork, telling the ball carrier where to go, where you're pushing, and just working on your minimap.
I've been really impressed by OpTic Nation's Uplink as well, especially on the map we're going to see. If it's the same as our last matchup, it's going to be comeback. And I've seen OpTic Nation take out Isolation eSports in our Pro League in 3 minutes, 20 seconds. They scored 10 times in 1:40. I'm going OpTic Nation in this series, guys, but I think it's going to a Game 5, especially if we see the first Hardpoint go to Epsilon. Give me your predictions, Gunch.
I want another European team in the semi-final, so I'm going to say a 3-2 slight edge. Maybe your last round S&D, so I'm going for a 3-2 Epsilon.
All right.
I love Epsilon, folks. I love OpTic. I'm going to go last map OpTic Nation. Bang on last time, by the way. I just want to point out that I called the 3-1 phase that them taking the Uplink, so I think it's going to be 3-2, Nation taking both S&Ds.
I also called a 3-1 phase, and you and I are going same picks again. Nation, take it, Gunch. All right, guys, that's enough for us here at the Top Man Analyst Desk. Let's send it down to our casters. Senator Dunlop.
Thank you, Chris. Courage joined by Momo here at the caster's desk. Quarterfinal number 3 coming up next. Epsilon versus OpTic Nation. And you heard it from them, Momo. This is a series that can definitely go all the way.
Absolutely, and I think it is going to back exactly what Swanee actually said there. I'm edging towards last round, round 11. I think OpTic Nation, their composure, they'll keep it right to the end. Sad to see because I would love to see Epsilon in the semi-final, much like Infused. I think Europe have done quite well so far in the tournament, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Prior to this match, looking at the team statistics, wanted to see how they matched up and really stacked up between these two teams. We said the key players to watch would be Miracles versus Joe. While you can definitely make an argument for Mochilla versus Madcat, there are the maps for this quarterfinal number 3. Detroit Hardpoint, Solar Search and Destroy, Comeback Uplink, Retreat Hardpoint, and then finally Search and Destroy on Riot. The winner of this series faces off against the winner of our final quarterfinal matchup between Vitality, Storm, and OpTic Gaming.
Absolutely. I mean, potentially, we can see a semi-final of OpTic Nation versus OpTic Gaming. That would be insane to see. However, let's take one game at a time. It's OpTic Nation here and Epsilon eSports head-to-head. Let's see what they can do.
Breaking down map number 1, I think OpTic Nation really lucked out. They did not want to face Madcat on Solar Hardpoint, one of his best maps we've seen time and time again. Madcat sitting at a 1.24 KD, 8th at this event right now. The rest of his team below a 1.0. Overall, a .919 KD, but we're on board with Mochilla from OpTic Nation, really the heart and soul of this team.
Absolutely. Now, Mochilla, obviously the newest member of this team, if you like, and, one which has made an absolute huge impact on the team. And, he will be rivaling Mad Cat. We've said it time and time again.
Yeah.
And Machilla, straight away, 2-1, kicking things off big.
Off the start, you can see Joe already heating up, picking up the two-piece there in Green Alley, stopping the flank from OpTic Gaming. Things to look for in this series. Miracles, a 1.29 KD, having one of his best events through all of Advanced Warfare so far. Really, when he begins to perform, he fills that same role that Joe or Zuma fills for their team, the aggressive sub-player. But Mochilla, always impressing for this OpTic Nation lineup of 1.44 KD, second at the event. Fully expect him to be giving Epsilon their biggest troubles.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. Now, one thing that some of the pro players have touched on is Embos. Now, Embos is almost the X factor of OpTic Nation, someone who really, when he's on his game and on his point, he will win you the game outright. And, the communication, the pure talent that he has, the gun skill, everything, he's just won. But right now, he is 1-5. I think that may be something, a bit of a slow start for OpTic Nation here. But, game number 1, it's Championship Sunday. This is the time to shine. I'm sure Embos has got a lot in his back pocket, and I'm hoping we can see some more of that. Let's jump on board with him. Let's see what he can do.
Miracle sitting at 7-3 right now, continuing to dominate so far this weekend. Embos just staying alive, pre-firing that Green Alley. He's deciding to back up into Closet, get some help from Ricky. OpTic Nation primed to take the lead here as long as it can take down these final players in Middle Street.
Absolutely, and now we see pretty much a tie game here at 33-33, but OpTic are taking the lead here, going into the third hardpoint. That'll be rotating into the garage. If you look in your top left-hand corner there, you can see the red players, which will be OpTic Nation, already on that rotation, not only picking up the scrap point, but ready on the rotation for hardpoint number 3.
Joe leading the push for Epsilon, loses that gunfight versus Miracles. There is an example of your key player matchup. If Mir can continue to do that all series long, then OpTic Nation will find themselves in a good spot. Ricky also remaining strong in this game number 1. OpTic Nation up by about 20 seconds.
Absolutely. Now we can see Embos heating up a bit. He's back to neutral terms after a bit of a slow start, but Ricky, ASM1 in hand, he's been on fire. I was just about to say he hasn't died in the past 30 seconds, and that is the curse of the caster. Jumping on board with Machilla. He's going to get shot in the back. Can he make the turn on? He's going to take down Mad Cat, and that, again, is a key player matchup we talk about before the game. Machilla doing absolute work.
Really, Epsilon got a fantastic spawn. There was a player from OpTic Nation at the back, Atlas, but they still spawned on that back statue and were able to push in from the ramp area, breaking the hard point, stopping the full 60 seconds. Going to OpTic Nation, they're able to grab that scrap time. Big gun battles happening inside the hotel area. Embos with the entry kill for OpTic Nation. Joe answers right back, but Miracles picks up the two-piece. He's now 12-8.
Absolutely. And Mochilla just backing him up there. Miracles does get taken down. Mochilla not only locking things down with the spawn, but he's also getting in the action and in the hardpoint. That's what I love about Mochilla. He's doing everything for his team. Gets taken down there by Joe. SMG straight into his face. And that goes in the hands of Epsilon.
Still a close game. Only 20 seconds separating these two teams as Mir just raided in half. The push coming from OpTic Nation. Reedy finds one, begins to challenge the others. Pushing from the Green Alley, hits the hip fire on the second, but loses the third gun battle. He did enough for his team, though, as the rest of his squad began to push through that back trailer area. Epsilon doing a fantastic job of rotating where they need to be exactly. They've now regained the lead.
And now, with only 8 seconds left on this hard point, you see the rotation coming in. 3 kills back-to-back for Epsilon, rated with another double kill. That's 2 of the game so far. However, Miracles and Machilla are answering back in great fashion. And the next hard point is going to go in favor of OpTic Nation. Looks like Embos is going to be collecting the points there for his team. Let's jump on board with Ricky here. Just anchoring down this middle map. Only has an ASM1, though. Has to be careful.
Trying to do all he can to stay alive here to give his teammates some extra cover on those middle stairs, but Mad Cat is able to cut him down. OpTic Nation still spawning right outside of the lockers area. Embos able to pick up 2 kills to stop the push from Epsilon. So back and forth in game number 1, Momo. I feel like this is a prediction of really, or a showing of how this entire series is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a 20-point game right now. What I do want to do, I mean, we're on board with Reedy here. He's going to get taken down. Let's give Mad Cat a little bit of love. We've not seen too much of him. He is not shining out at the moment. However, Mad Cat has a lot to give, currently 16 and 15. But Joe, the analysts talking about how Joe is a player which is underrated, not really spoken too much of. He's kicking it off with 21 kills.
Mochilla continuing to play aggressively with this AR, hopping inside the hard point whenever his team needs him. at the end of the first rotation. It's OpTic Nation up by about 25 seconds. Really, though, Momo, it's been an even slaying matchup. Joe leading the entire game with 22 kills.
Absolutely. Now, Reedy on your screen, he gets taken down. Few trades come in. Mad Cat and Mochilla exchange. Mochilla once again getting the better of Mad Cat. We see this time and time again. That's 3 times in a row there. Miracles spiraling into this middle hard point. He's going to put a few shots down. Not necessarily making the kill, but putting some points on the board. We see this being extended to about a 35-point game right now.
Thing to point out for me is that Epsilon really needs Mad Cat to begin to lock down these long sight lines on the map. Currently, OpTic Nation is having a field day. Their sub players are able to go wherever they'd like. That is in part to Mochilla's 21-17 performance at the moment. Really, Mad Cat hasn't been able to answer back too much, and the score reflects that, a 40-second lead as OpTic Nation begins to pull away.
Absolutely. Now you see not only Epsilon picking up a few scrap points there as well, but the rotation's going to come into play. I'm going to just flick on board with Mad Cat. He's the only Epsilon player here, and he's on his own. ASM1, which is interesting to see. Usually Mad Cat is a dominant AR. He's going to get taken down by Ricky, and OpTic Nation are going to take the lead in Hardpoint.
He's been running that sub for the last few hills, Momo.
Yeah.
So far, haven't really seen it pay off. OpTic Nation doing a fantastic job of breaking the 3-man push coming from Middle Street, one flanking from that green alley area. Mochilla just sprang through the stun grenade, loses that second gun battle versus Reedy. Reedy continuing to pre-fire that closet area, pulling an attach from earlier today. And yet again, OpTic Nation winning the trades in the hill. They continue to chain together some time.
Absolutely. It looks like Epsilon got a few kills back-to-back. They're going to take control of this hard point. There's still 15 seconds on this, and yes, it is the scrap points, but at this stage in the game, that's what they need. Joe and Rated combining for a few kills themselves. Joe is straight on this rotation. Joe is 32 and 26, top fragger of the whole game right now of all 8 players. Considered as an objective player, that is incredible.
The first time around on the garage hardpoint, OpTic Nation held it down for almost its entirety. The last little bit of scrap time went over to Epsilon. This time around, Mad Cat picked up the entry 2-piece. Reedy was there to help out, and they're able to break the hardpoint. They can really chain together a ton of time. Rated covering the back spawn area. Fantastic stuff. They should get the call out, though. That 4 players from OpTic Nation are beginning to flank. Reedy is in a beautiful position to stop this, and he picks up 3 kills.
Do you know what? Flicking onto Reedy there was a good choice. Reedy there just locking down that back carriage hard point. And we see nearly a tie game here. 176 to 173. Things are going to get tied up very, very shortly.
My
Epsilon
goodness.
have taken control of this garage hard point, and it is going down to the wire. Only 16 seconds. And this scrap point is going in favor of Epsilon. We can see on the mini-map, the rotation of OpTic Nation is going into play.
The first time around, the garage hardpoint was all OpTic Nation. This time, Epsilon did a fantastic job of holding it down. The games at this Gfinity Summer Championship have been absolutely bonkers on this championship Sunday. 7 seconds separating these two teams. Joe falls, OpTic Nation in early control.
Absolutely, man. Mad Cat makes a double kill. He makes a triple kill.
Mad Cat.
Mad Cat backing things up. This is why he is considered probably the best player in Europe at the moment. Making another kill. 4 kills back-to-back there. He's hidden up right at the last few moments of this hard point, and they're only 50 points away from securing this with only 60 points in total around to go. 1 minute and 20 left on the clock.
Reedy was 13 and 20, now 29 and 28 on a 5 streak, a 30-second lead and growing for Epsilon. They did a fantastic job of stopping the push from that back trailer area out of OpTic Nation. Then they held down the spawns. They have the cuts they need. Epsilon EU coming out to a massive lead.
Absolutely. I'm just going to jump on board here. Embo's he's doing everything he can. He's going to pick up the last couple of points there, but it's going to go down to this last hill. I'm going to jump on board with Miracles, who's already there. He's going to get taken down. Joe and Reedy combining. Mochilla answering back. This is going down to the wire, but with only 30 seconds left and 45 on the clock. This is looking like Epsilon's going to run away with it.
Epsilon with a perfect setup for this school hardpoint. Going to be up to ON to try to break as soon as possible, but that kill will seal it. Epsilon EU winning game number 1 in really a very strong fashion. At the end of it, slaying went completely in their favor. Gotta give a shout out to Reedy. He had a slow start, but was able to battle right back. Really a difference maker for me in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I kind of covered the point there in the garage hardpoint where it went 176 apiece. But since then, it was all Epsilon. We saw Mad Cat a huge triple kill in that hotel hardpoint. We saw Joe consistently doing what he does best. 40 kills on the board. I mean, 40 kills and 37 deaths. That's 77 interactions right there. That alone is absolutely phenomenal. How'd you get yourself so involved in a game to create that? That's ridiculous.
You just saw the camera on the Epsilon booth. Their coach, Dinge, is more excited than the players. It appears he continues to yell right in their ears, getting hyped. Winning that game number 1. So back and forth. And you know, Momo, I thought OpTic Nation was going to pull away with that one. They did a fantastic job on the second rotation of holding down that middle Atlas cube. Miracles was a madman inside of green all game long, but Mad Cat really showed up with that sub, was able to pick up the 3-piece in that back yellow hill, and that's when Epsilon began to chain together the time and really clinched that game 1 victory.
I've got to completely agree with you there. You know, for the first 6-7 minutes, I thought that was OpTic Nation's game, and then suddenly something clicked in the Epsilon camp. I've got to say, when it went to that garage hardpoint and just beforehand in green, something just, you know, started to go right. I think Mad Cat started to heat up. He locked that down. Joe was consistent throughout the whole game. Yeah. But, you know, Rated, Reedy, that duo in them as well just came out, and, you know, they take map number 1. So congratulations to Epsilon. We're going to be going into map number 2 very shortly. But, I mean, the hardpoint is so interesting to watch.
Yeah. Really, the big thing to point out there is Swanee mentioned it prior to game number 1 starting. When OpTic Nation begins to struggle in the slaying department, that's when things fall apart. Throughout that whole game, it was pretty much even. Miracles was going off at the start of it. Mochilla was doing, well, really what you expect Mochilla to do. By the end of it, though, all 4 players of Epsilon were positive, something we really haven't seen from them all tournament long. Mad Cat didn't even need to carry that hard, which is, I think, the big takeaway here. You see on Solar Hardpoint, he'll drop 45 kills and, 32 deaths with that AR and just lock down the map for his team. Yeah. Electric play. This time around, a little bit of a slower performance, but Joe, Rated, and Reedy were right there to back him up. Big game 1 victory out of Epsilon, but now we're moving into Search and Destroy. Yes. Realistically, OpTic Nation's best game mode. You saw the numbers from Miracles. He's just been dominant all weekend long. The map is going to be Solar. We're hopping into game 2 now. Momo, predictions for this Search and Destroy.
I've got to say, with current form, with Miracles on that squad, I've got to go in favor of OpTic Nation for the Search and Destroy. I'm going to say 6-5, purely because I know how talented both squads are here right now. I don't think any is going to outshine each other particularly, but when you got the likes of Miracles, you know, anything can happen. I mean, this guy is on, I think, an average kill-death ratio of 2.6 or something crazy. So if he is on the attacking team, which he isn't, we will jump on board with him a little bit later. Let's just flick through quickly, see what people are using. Let's get a little bit of love to Reedy. Click on that cam vision so you guys can see at home what we can see here in the studio. Reedy, ball in hand. Let's see what it can do.
To get to this point, Epsilon took down Rise Nation 2 times. Their first matchup of the weekend, they were able to clinch that one, and then after losing to Elevate, they bounced back and earned themselves a spot on Championship Sunday. At the start of game number 2, Miracles and Mochilla strike first. Reedy left in the 1-on-4.
And look at that once again. Round number 1, Miracles kicking it off with 2 kills. He's not hiding anything. Reedy trying to answer back. He's going to go for the 1 versus 4. I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off. That is finished very, very quickly. OpTic Nation just proving why they are such a renowned Search and Destroy team. That was crazy.
I mean, really just what you expect. Mochilla and Mir both picking up 2 kills in that round number 1 performance. You saw the aggression come down that pipes street out of Epsilon, and they got shut down right away. Their first player hopped right into Catwalk. Miracles won the gunfight, and then it really all fell apart from there. You couldn't really ask much of Reedy in that 1v4. Now OpTic Nation back on offense to get to this spot this weekend. They took down Spirit Gaming and also faced off against TCM and won that one. They've yet to lose a series right now, down 0-1. We'll see if they can mount the comeback.
Absolutely. Now, there is no other man that I want to see more than Miracles. 2-0 currently in this Search and Destroy, only in round number 2. He is going to progress up the map, but he is going to get taken down. Not
Love that
quite
play.
Yet. He's going to take a few bullets. Mad Cat is hot on his heels, and it looks like Miracles is going to come off a little bit worse for wear there. And Epsilon make this a 1 versus 3 for Mochilla.
Mochilla trying to stay alive inside purple. Pre-fires the player coming from middle map, but unfortunately for him, it was not enough. He was able to clean up those 2 kills. But the push coming from the catwalk area from Mad Cat, a very heads-up play, just continuing to pre-fire, hoping he lands that last bullet. Pretty sure he shot him in the foot. Strong performance here out of Mochilla. He's 5-1, but the boys on Epsilon are able to tie it up 1-1.
Absolutely. I mean, Mad Cat there, he's kind of just spraying. Mochilla did absolutely great work to pick those 2 kills up, but it just wasn't enough. Rated, however, on 0 and 2. Let's see what he's doing for his team. Looks like he's going to be progressing through the middle of the map, just taking things a little bit slower, which Rated is used to, but he's going to come on a one-on-one battle with Ricky. Doesn't look like he's going to challenge that too much. He did take some damage, but Joe making the first blood.
Love this play call out of Epsilon. They get the first blood on the A street and wrap it right back to B and overwhelm the OpTic Nation members. A flawless round out of Epsilon EU, now up 2-1.
Absolutely. I mean, how quick are these rounds going? I mean, it's such aggression there on that B side. You know, Epsilon just kind of went all out. They came better off. Ricky and Embo's having a bit of a struggle at the start of this search and destroy. I'm sure they'll heat up. Let's see what they can do.
Really, the thing to point out there was Rated grabbed the bomb, went to P1. He was a distraction for the player pushing that glass street. They were easily able to take down Ricky. They immediately called for the play to rotate towards B. Gotta love the fact that they did not hesitate at all. Confident in their plays. They're now up 2-1. What a massive victory this would be in game number 2 for Epsilon to try to take this series.
And look at this already. Reedy, Joe, and Reedy for the third. I've just been jumping on board here with Mochilla because he's 5 and 2, and he's the only player left alive for OpTic Nation. He has a huge, huge challenge here for a 1 versus 4 versus Epsilon.
And look at the play call for Epsilon now. Let's us all flip the map. We'll run right through OpTic Nation spawn. We'll make sure that, hey, if we get in a gunfight from Mochilla, we'll easily be able to trade it. There you can see the nice fist bumps in the booth after Epsilon wins their 3rd straight round. Joe and Reedy on a combined 7-kill streak.
Just throughout this whole series, I know we're kind of at the very start of map number 2, but Joe is just impressing me so much. The analyst touched on it just before the game and said he doesn't get the credit he deserves. But I just can't believe, you know, how consistent he has been through the whole of this tournament. Yeah. I mean, he's 5 and 2 currently in the Search and Destroy. He's just hit a 40 bomb, and he just seems to be able to do everything. And you know, he's not been particularly a veteran for a long time in the scene, but
there again, Ricky sitting S3. Begins to shoot the player in P1, and the push comes from the glass wall. No one on OpTic Nation is even set up near the A site. Ricky gets first blooded yet again. Embo's able to answer right back. Questionable play call from Joe, revealing himself to the middle of the map.
Bomb goes down, Mad Cat covering his teammate, and it looks like Mad Cat's just taking the higher elevation on the map there. He's just getting a line of sight, seeing if anyone does enter this catwalk. Only 35 seconds left on the clock. Looks like a few gun battles going down, and I'm just going to quickly change over, if possible, to Reedy with it. PDW, he's going to get taken down. Mochilla and Miracles combining 2 versus 1 for Mad Cat.
1-on-1. Mad Cat going up against Mochilla. Mochilla now beginning to push from the glass cuts. Spots the player, but Mad Cat wins the gunfight. 4-1. Epsilon continuing to streak here in game number 2. You know, the 1-on-2 Mad Cat was last alive, but kept his composure, deciding to just stay exactly where he was when he picked up the kill there on Miracles. Great stuff from him. He's on a 5 streak of 5.0 overall KD.
Now, the interesting thing that I did, I popped into the Players Lounge just before this game when, obviously, you know, quarterfinal 2 was on, and it was quite funny to see that they were actually warming up at the same station, OpTic Nation and Epsilon. Mad Cat was giving a bit of banter back and forward, but he was just saying, you know, it was to Embo's and Mochilla actually, in fact, you're just not going to outgun me. You're not going to do it. And he's proving why. He's 5-1 at the moment, but Miracles currently on your screen. Joe, again, 2-piece. He's going to try and get taken down. Answer again, gets taken down. Rated and Miracles. And before I can even finish, 5-1 Epsilon.
Ricky currently sitting at 0-6 prior to the series starting. Swanee said he is really the shot caller in Search and Destroy for this team. Very vocal in the booth. Right now, dropping the donut. Embos and Ricky, a combined 1-11. That is not a recipe for victory if you are OpTic Nation. Epsilon now 1 round away from going up 2-0 in this quarterfinal number 3.
Absolutely. Let's see if they can finish this here. Now, I called a 6-5. I mean, you didn't give us your prediction. However, I think you would have been in the same kind of light of me. We thought this was going to be a close game. We didn't think it was going to be a washout at all. Really kicking it off with a first blood.
Honestly, the difference maker in this game number 2 has been the control of middle map out of the boys on Epsilon. They continue to win the gun battles by that center pool area. Good for OpTic Nation, though, to answer right back the 2-on-3 in favor of ON.
Yeah, Embo's kicking off with his first kill of the game in round number 7. Not something that Embo's is used to, because Embo's such a prolific search and destroy player as well. Yeah. You know, so well known for, you know, his plays and what he can do. Joe picking up Ricky is now a 2 versus 2 Mochilla and Embos.
And right there, Ricky getting too aggressive down the glass street, gets himself in a spot where they can't even begin to try to trade the kill. He gets taken down with ease, and instead of the number advantage being to OpTic Nation, it's now a 2-on-2. It looks like Mochilla and Embos are trying to get closer to each other on the map. The bomb still needs to be planted from the boys on Epsilon.
The bomb is actually quite a far distance from either A or B. Looks like Joe is edging towards the B site. However, he's going to come up against one player. Just going to flick on board with Joe, see what he can do.
You can see that player from OpTic Nation.
Let's see what Mad Cat can do, because he will be the one covering. I'm going to flick on board with him, and the bomb is being planted. There is one player behind him, Mad Cat. He's going to be in a 1 versus 2.
Mochilla takes him out. A beautiful headshot, picking up the 2-piece. Unfortunately, though, for him, his team is still down 5-2. Leading his squad right now at 9-5. Got the defuse. He's on a 3 streak. He had the highest KD in Search and Destroy in the MLG Pro League Season 3. Bringing it over to LAN, that's no different.
Absolutely. I mean, he's doing phenomenal. I mean, at this point, it's 5-2. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders to come back from this. But if there's anyone that can do it, it is OpTic Nation. They are so good at Search and Destroy. Maybe they just haven't found their feet. Ricky and Embo struggling a little bit. But Mochilla, 9-5. I'm going to stay on board with him. Let's see if he can hit the double figures.
Spotted Mad Cat in the back of the map, deciding not to challenge as of yet. No one has yet to strike first blood, putting some shots down, but Reedy's able to win that one. Miracles answers right back, but Raiden picks up the 2-piece. That's going to leave Miracles in the 1-on-3. Can he do the impossible to keep OpTic Nation alive in game number 2?
I honestly think this is too much for Miracles. Yes, he is a Search and Destroy beast. He takes down one. He's going to see the second player. He's going to see two in the middle. He must have seen both, and I think that's the wise choice. What he's doing, he's just edging back a little bit. But looking at that minimap, both Epsilon players, Reedy and Rated, the duo are doing exactly the same. I'd like to see them stick a little bit closer together.
They decided to give up the B bomb site. They knew the bomb was down. Surprised to see one player sitting in ring, the other one on top of P1. The bomb is planted. Miracles still on in this 1-on-3. This would be for the A. Spots one player, bottom catwalk. Picks up the gunfight win there, but the shots from mid-cuts going to take him down. Reedy clutching that one up for Epsilon. They're able to win game number 2 at a score of 6-2.
That is incredible. I think it was a bit of COD time in there. Miracles shot someone in the back. He just didn't get the, he didn't have that one-on-one battle there in that 1 versus 2. I'm sure Miracles would have been hyped up together. But I'm going to say on that Search and Destroy alone, Reedy was basically missed the first blood. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see the stats. He picked Ricky off top 3 twice. We saw him just in that last round there pick up the first blood once again. And I think, throughout the game there, he finished himself 9-4 with 1 defuse as well. Really good plays from Reedy. But, did we see this from OpTic Nation? Their Search and Destroy just didn't see. I mean, Ricky 1-8, Embo's 1-6. What is going on?
A combined 2-14 performance from 2 players who honestly are regarded as very strong S&D players. They are always grinding out the Search and Destroy tournaments together as a duo. This time around, it did not go in their favor. Here is a look at the scoreboard. All 4 players from Epsilon, yet again, either even or positive. They've yet to have someone have below a 1.0 KD in this series. On the other side of things, Mochilla did all he could for his team, sitting at 9-6. Miracles really held his own. But outside of that one, the way Ricky died, time and time again, throughout that series, whether it was first blood or that time he overextended through glass, very different type of play style from him. Typically, he would adapt and kind of make sure to clean up those mistakes. This time around, it was just not working in his favor.
And Ricky's, like Shane said on the analyst desk, Ricky's the player that will be communicating most in-game. Out-of-game, he's, maybe a little bit shy
very quiet,
reserved. But in-game, he's kind of almost a leader, especially in Search and Destroy. So that's what I'm quite shocked to see. But it's Championship Sunday. Anything can happen. We're going to be going to game number 3. Potentially, OpTic Nation could be going out of this tournament.
Big thing to point out is that you really can't ask for a better map 3 from OpTic Nation. Comeback Uplink. It was mentioned prior to the series starting. Puckett said the disgusting game they had against Isolation Empire, where they were able to score 10 points in just 1 minute and 40 seconds. Can they replicate that here up against Epsilon EU? a big question mark. Is this team going to stay consistent through the rest of the series? They need to turn things around right now or else their tournament life is over.
Absolutely. And I think with comeback Uplink, we're going to see Machilla and Madcat fighting for that glass area.
Yeah, that's going to be nuts.
And I honestly think, even though Madcat's performance at the moment, I think Machilla might get the better of him on this map in particular. And I'm going to say, and I've been wrong in most areas here, I think Uplink, we say it time and time again, North American squad's so consistent. I think we're going to see OpTic Nation take this. I really do. I just think because of their, like you said, they've done it before. They're very good at this. And I think with Epsilon and, not being kind of a squad for a long period of time, they may struggle with the communication. But I've casted 4 games this weekend, and every single one's been 3-0.
Yeah, really the thing to point out is that Clayster, after his win against the European or the Envy squad, they said, what are you really looking to do against the European teams to catch them off guard, to be able to sneak away some victories? Clay said, you got to just play the way you normally play. Don't play their run and gun style. Don't feed into their play style that they're comfortable with. Fully expect OpTic Nation to hopefully come out with a setup play. Would love to see them send 3 players through bottom middle with the drone and try to get some early points on the board to regain some momentum in their favor. Games 1 and 2 went over to Epsilon EU. Here's a look at the remaining maps in the quarterfinal number 3. Comeback Uplink is beginning now. If OpTic Nation can bring it to a game 4, Hardpoint retreat, you gotta like their odds in that map as well. And then if it goes to a game 5, Momo, Riot Search and Destroy should be an absolute treat.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I hope it does. I really do. I'd love to see a game 5. I think these two teams, are very evenly matched. However, if Epsilon, if they can bring the heat here and they just, take them out on the comeback Uplink, I think they deserve the victory.
Prior to this series starting, OpTic Nation had a 1.22 overall team KD. They have not been able to outslay their opponents in this one so far. We're going to hop on board with Joe off the start, the aggressive sub player for Epsilon EU. Let's see if he can get glass control.
Literally all 8 people pushing towards that glass control. Madcat picking up a kill. Embos and Machilla answering back as well. Looks like it's going to go in favor of OpTic Nation. Embos starting off hot here with a 3-kill streak.
Bose picks up the 3-piece. He's going to charge right into yellow for his team. Love the mindset. Unfortunately for OpTic Nation, he loses that first gunfight, and this entire first push should be stopped unless Mochilla can make a miraculous play, and no, he winds up falling.
Yeah, Miracle's actually answering him back with a few kills, with 1 kill himself there, and Joe trading that very nicely. Drone has not been picked up as of yet. I say that as Madcat just picks it up. He makes the play where I think he's just passed it into a wall there just so he can enable his machine gun and then take down as many players as possible, and Madcat is on a tear. This is what he does best. Madcat is not a player that we will see, running around with the drone too much, but he's a team player. He's doing everything he can. He's 4-on-1.
Really love this play call out of Epsilon. They had a player charged already up through dirt. Instead of having him grab the drone, they said, you know what, Madcat, you get it. He'll be your lead blocker, and it pays off. Epsilon striking first. They're up 1-0.
Let's see what Miracles can do. He's an objective player. He knows how to bamboozle a few players, but he's just going to hide behind this air vent. Is he going to? It looks like he's going for the 2-point play, and he's going to make it there. Miracles with the support of Mochilla and Embos. That's a great play, and Epsilon really needs to trap back and either, do something quickly, because it looks like OpTic Nation are taking control of their base.
Heads-up decision from OpTic Nation right there. Miracles knew his team was beginning to charge from green into yellow, played it very patiently, let his team win the necessary gunfights. They're able to dunk it in. They are now back in the lead, but Rated is looking to strike for Epsilon. He tosses in the 1-point play, but it just misses. No one in a spot to dunk it in for Epsilon. A missed opportunity there. They remain down by 1.
Absolutely. Embos is actually making a play where he's just going to throw the drone into the enemy base and make it a little bit more difficult for Epsilon. Miracles and Madcat answering back.
Miracles just picked it off and goes for the 1-point play. Right there, you saw the player from Epsilon try to toss it off. He grabbed it and went right past him. Beautiful stuff from him. Sorry to cut you off there, Momo, but it happened just so quickly.
I'm going to say you saw something I didn't, and that was absolutely amazing. I mean, Miracles really stepping up to the plate. 6 and 6, got all three points for his team in the Uplink. Madcat is trying to say no. Let's see what he can do, but Madcat is 11-4 on a 6-kill streak right now.
Oh, just gets cut down there, but he buys his teammate enough time to dunk it in. Remaining even are the Epsilon versus OpTic Nation rosters. We saw it all the way through map number 1, very back and forth. It's only right that they do the same on comeback Uplink. Joe with the drone in hand goes for the 1-point toss. He connects, almost wins a gunfight versus Mochilla. after the first 2 minutes and 50 seconds of gameplay. A 1-point lead for Epsilon EU.
This is crazy, and Reedy making another play. The drone is going to be in a bit of limbo there. He's not going to make it, and a 2-point play is going to be played, and I'm not too sure which play that was, but that's going to be reset. Ricky and Embo's put a few kills on the board, but at the moment, the points are going in Epsilon's favor.
That was actually Joe. He overextended through green. His teammate missed the 1-point play. He was able to connect with the dunk, but OpTic Nation answers right back, and so far, really, Momo, it's been some heads-up plays from single players, not really set up. Gameplay right now is the biggest chance OpTic Nation has had to rally in points. There's another dunk, the full overextension from Epsilon EU. They're going to try to regain control of glass.
Absolutely. I mean, 3 plays from Epsilon there, just went right around the map. They made a big play. Mad Cat is heating up, 16-8 right now. He's going to get taken down by his own player, Rated, but he's also going to take down Miracles. Not too bad. Let's jump on board. Rated having not the best of games, 4-10, just getting the melee to the face there by Mochilla. The drone is now in the hands of himself.
Mochilla was the last line of defense for OpTic Nation. He did just enough to grab the drone and move it towards the opposing team's base. Embo's right now at 17-8 over double positive, having, well, his best game of the event so far. Let's hop on board with him to see if he can continue to stay hot.
Absolutely, 18-8. He'll just be looking to put the support down as his teammate goes in and makes the 2-point play.
Nice
That
stuff.
is 10 points. 4 minutes and 11. You know, we spoke about Uplink and how dominant American teams were. That was 6-3 in favor of Epsilon, and they just changed it instantly.
Look at the scores right now from Epsilon. 5-14, 5-13, and their final remaining player only has 8 kills. Mad Cat is 17-10. Realistically, the only reason why Epsilon was able to get 6 points on the board at the start of side number 2. Epsilon's only going to have 4 minutes to work with to make them mount the comeback.
Absolutely. But I think it's completely possible to do, and Mad Cat currently 17-10. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Mad Cat just taking control of this glass area. He's not going too hard on the drone. He's going to shoot down Miracles. Miracles dodging and weaving, and he makes the kill. Miracles hot right now, 11-9.
Mochilla now beginning to push into glass for OpTic Nation. The drone in the hands of Epsilon. 3-on-3, just going to toss that one off the map. Rated knowing, hey, we don't have to force anything. There's still enough time to make it happen. They just can't let ON begin to get on the board. Now, Momo, if you're one of the boys on Epsilon and you're trying to figure out how you can exactly take this game number 3, what would you like to see them do to mount the comeback?
They need to shut down Embos. I mean, Miracles, Mochilla, and Ricky really doing well, but nothing, nothing spectacular. But Embos is 20-11. He's just slaying absolutely everything at the moment. It is 6-10, but the drone is in the hands of Ricky. He will be wanting to extend that. Looks like he's just biding his time, though. He's not making any rash decisions here.
Embos, a player who always has a lot of critics from his performances at LAN events. He can definitely be inconsistent in some of the respawn game modes. Right now, though, he's leading his team to a Game 3 potential victory. The 1-point play coming out of Ricky. They're on the favored side as well.
Yep.
All signs leading to OpTic Nation forcing a Game 4.
Yeah, and that's 4 kills back-to-back for OpTic Nation. Embos is going to get that carry capture point if he carries on. EMPs, I like the fact that he's brought this out. He's going for the 1-point play. That's an audacious throw, and he does make the play. Mad Cat trying to get a few more kills, and to be honest, Mad Cat is a one-man team right now.
He honestly is. He's trying to do everything for his squad. He's got 1 point on the board. Also sitting at 20-13, leading his team in the slaying department. Unfortunately for him, he can't do it all, as all 4 players of OpTic Nation are doing everything they can. Really, Ricky is the only player who's struggled a little bit this game now at 12-15. The rest of the squad, though, more than holding their own.
Absolutely, 2 minutes left to go. There is definitely time to make this comeback, but when you've got the likes of Miracles making double kills like that, he's going to try and get another kill, but Rated, he's going to say no, he isn't. Mochilla backing him up. And it is just, at this point where it's 12-6, 2 minutes left to go, I think OpTic Nation are just in a position where they're not particularly looking to extend the lead, just kind of bide their time, take it easy. As I say that, another 1-point play goes in, and the drone is reset. Miracles gets taken down.
A 4-possession game with 90 seconds remaining. You're going to need to see Epsilon do the impossible, and that's chained together multiple dunks in a row. They're going to have to get control of glass and then push into yellow. They need one person, whoever dies, to rotate back and grab the drone. Right now, though, it looks like they're going to have no chance at doing that. Still 2 players of OpTic Nation pushed up into blue. A relentless stuff from here on OpTic Nation on side number 2.
Ricky is going to try and finish this game right here, right
that's
now.
It.
And
they're going to wait it out.
They're not even going to score it. That's a little bit of showboat. And I like that from Ricky. He's confident. I mean, you know, very, very good Uplink team. I would have liked to see more in the search and destroy. The hardpoint was down to the wire, but it looks like here we'll be going to a game number 4 if there is anything to say about it. Ricky, once again, just extending that lead, and now it is looking completely out of reach for Epsilon.
OpTic Nation scoring 7 unanswered points on side number 2, completely pulling away. Yeah, there's still 40 seconds left, but now, what, a 6-possession game? Don't see how the boys on Epsilon are going to come back on this one. Beautiful stuff out of OpTic Nation, really what you predicted. Though, Momo, coming into this game, no surprises here as OpTic Nation forces the game 4.
Yeah, and game number 4 is going to be interesting.
God.
He's going to be back on hardpoint. Now, we saw how close that first hardpoint was. Epsilon obviously took it in those last 2 hills. You know, we're on a different map. We'll be playing, I believe, Retreat, but we will talk about that in just a short while. It looks like this game is going to end 19-6, should I say, as Ricky gets another kill. Just kind of pop in. We'll pop the scoreboard up and see how many points was actually scored there, but I think that was 9 in the last 4 minutes, I think it was.
19-6, OpTic Nation able to take home game number 3. There's your final kill out of Embos. A 30-20 performance, definitely up there for his best game of the weekend so far. We're now going to be heading into Retreat. Hardpoint, this is a map that I've got to favor OpTic Nation on. Mochilla is going to go absolutely huge for their team. Miracles plays the bottom dirt area so well, absolutely pushing into wherever they spawn, whether it's jungle or spa, locking down that area of the map for his team. That is a big momentum swing there, Momo.
Yep.
OpTic Nation not only beating them in game number 3, but beating them in a dominant way, winning by 13 points.
Yeah, it was incredible to see. And before the game, obviously, we made our predictions, and a lot of the guys, you know, no one said a 3-0. No one said it. And I think that is justified here. We've seen how dominant Epsilon were in Search and Destroy. We've seen how OpTic Nation have just answered back incredibly in the Uplink. And I think this game almost deserves to, you know, be drawn out to a game 4, game 5, just to see who is that better team on the day. But it's going to be interesting to see Mochilla versus Madcat on this hard point. You're very confident in Mochilla and, you know, Miracles in these, you know, close quarter combats. But on my side, I'm thinking Madcat and Joe.
All right, well, that's been the player matchup we've seen all series long. Positive 20 in the slaying department for OpTic Nation. Do not go anywhere. Quarterfinals number 3 continues after this quick commercial break.
Wait, you're not on it? I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Where are you at?
You wanna rub my boner?
Here comes the money. Money, money, money. Dollar, dollar.
Interesting choice it would be, but he doesn't pull it. Gets it. There's one. Oh, it's
no,
going to be
he's
close.
He gets the second one. Clay, the MVP with the 2 snipes, all smiles, high fives coming from attached. The birthday boy able to pick it up.
Wow, and look at that, the accuracy there. And I mean, you know, in those close quarters,
They didn't really have full control. They were defending the flank over and over again. And another thing with doing it, eventually you will get overwhelmed in that position. The other thing, will be able to eventually break it, get like maybe get a 2-piece of turn. Oh my goodness!
There's
Surely
the
not.
4-2. Can he pick it up? He gets it.
Oh my
The entire team at TCM taken out in a matter of seconds. Attach, man. He is young. He is still developing as a player, but God, he is disgusting.
My name is Jack Dunlop, and I go by Courage in the gaming community. Gamer style for me really means you have to be comfortable, you have to be happy with how you look, and really you have to be confident. I'm going to work conservative, let my personality speak for myself. Today I went with the Ryan Gosling look from Drive, one of my favorite movies. Maven and Matt were yelling at me to wear it, and I really think it came out pretty well. Got the matching shoes, and overall was easy to find, and I'm very happy with how it came out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Gfinity Summer $100,000 Championship. What a game we have on our hands. OpTic Nation here up against Epsilon eSports, currently 2-1 in favor of Epsilon.
Yeah, Epsilon showing up in games 1 and 2. Different story, though, in the comeback. Uplink, really a dominant performance out of OpTic Nation. And as we head into retreat Hardpoint, this is one that can definitely go the full 10 minutes. Hardpoint number 1 was so back and forth. OpTic Nation had a 40-second lead. Then Epsilon pull away at that second yellow Hardpoint. Honestly, game number 4, I don't even know what to predict. I'm leaning towards OpTic Nation, but if Mad Cat has his best game of this entire event, they'll definitely be able to take this series home 3-1.
And I think that's important that you say that. Mad Cat, even though they kind of just got trashed on that Uplink, Mad Cat still had a phenomenal game. He's played well in the Search and Destroy. He played phenomenal in the Hardpoint. If he could do the same, and his teammates like Joe, Raid, Reedy all step it up, I think they can take this 3-1.
Yeah, I think that.
But I mean, on the other side of things, Embos really was starting slow on the Hardpoint.
Yeah.
In the Uplink, what we've just seen, if he can continue that and his momentum that he's just gathered into the Hardpoint, it's anyone's game. I'm kind of sitting on the fence at the moment, and that's the best way to be as a caster because you can never be wrong. However, Hardpoint retreat favors those long-range gun battles. Mochilla and Mad Cat, we're going to see battling it out against each other constantly through this game. But as you can see on your screens there, Hardpoint went to Epsilon 230 to 219. And then into Search and Destroy, 6-2. OpTic Nation fighting back, so dominant, 19-6 on the game. But let's jump on board with, who do you want to jump on board with, Courage?
I want to hop on board with Mochilla right off the start. Something to point out is that in series number 1, Mad Cat, or game number 1 of the series, Mad Cat used that sub a lot on Detroit Hardpoint. Do not expect him to really pull it out at all here in game number 4. The entirety of Europe behind this Epsilon lineup. On the other side of things, though, you have the Green Wall, who wants to see their team move on to a semifinal matchup.
Mochilla kicking it off here with a first blood onto Reedy with a headshot. Embos as well.
Oh, gosh.
And Mochilla is looking hot right now. He is not stopping. He's just gaining momentum through that comeback that he's just played on Uplink, and he's taking it straight into the Hardpoint.
Miracles and Ricky picking up kills of their own, but there is Reedy yet again. Another 2-piece. He's 3-1 to start this game. Finally getting cut down. And a big part of this hill, Momo, is holding down the towels area. We've seen it time and time again where once your team gets control of Courtyard, you send a bow player inside towels. He watches the pool push. Right now, though, neither team able to get fully set up. Epsilon doing a great job of breaking the first hill.
Absolutely. Miracle's there. Got a nice 3-piece back, and he's going to get taken down. Embo's really struggling there just to get his kills in the towers area. Kill feed looking like Epsilon, but it is 12 apiece right now as we rotate into the Hardpoint number 2. Justice Turtle back, and I'm just going to jump on board someone a bit closer to the action. Let's see what Reedy's up to. Reedy gets taken down by Miracles.
Miracles picks up the 2-piece inside the Hardpoint, spots the third, gets the help help of Ricky to win that one. OpTic Nation up 20-15, and they have an absolutely perfect setup on the Statue Hill.
Yeah, you can see all of Epsilon coming in like a pack of wolves, trying to take down OpTic Nation. And is it going to work? The hill is contested. Miracles is trying to say no. Ricky helps him out. Radiant answers back with a kill himself. But the lead is going in favor of OpTic Nation.
5 streak out of Miracles. Finally gets cut down by Reedy. If you take a look at your minimap, split spawns coming out of OpTic Nation. Embo spawning at the pool rock while his teammates come from bottom jungle, but it doesn't matter. Picking up that 2-piece. He's now 7-6. Early slaying advantage going to OpTic Nation. They find themselves up by 30 seconds.
Yes, and again, the rotation is going to be put in place. Looks like Epsilon have gone for the early rotation on this lobby hardpoint, and to be fair, with how many entrance points there is, it's easily breakable, and I'm sure OpTic Nation will want to do that. Embo's not having the better of shots there, but he's 7-6. He's going to back it up with a kill. He's currently on a 3-kill streak. He's doing okay.
Embo's leading the push towards the pool rock for his team. Unfortunately for him, the rest of Epsilon is spawning in the dub area. OpTic Nation trying to win the crucial gun battles inside the hard point, but it looks like the trades are going in favor of Epsilon. Mad Cat picks up a kill. Embo's trades that one right back. Still a 25-second advantage for OpTic Nation, but Epsilon have finally gained control.
Reedy has just absolutely ruined Ricky there. Miracles answering back, and Mad Cat with another double kill for him. Mochilla is heating up. Mochilla actually using it ASM1, which is interesting to see. Maybe due to this hardpoint and how close quarters it is, it's a wise decision.
Mochilla is just pre-firing and hitting his hip fires. Nice 2-piece from him to hold the hill control up by 30 seconds, and Mochilla doesn't matter if he's not using that AR, he can do it just as well with the SMG on a 3 streak, and he can't be stopped, finally getting cut down after his 7-kill streak.
That was ridiculous. I mean, Mochilla, just a versatile player there. He can lock it down and be the boring, robot, if you like, with that AR, but he can also be that extravagant player who gets involved with the hardpoint, getting some objective play in place as well. But hardpoint is in contention right now. It's going in the favor of Epsilon, but Embos and Miracles trying to stop them right now.
Really, something funny to point out is that Swanee said Mochilla typically plays more of a statue-type AR player for this ON lineup. So far in this series has done basically the opposite of that, and no one could have seen that coming. Always hopping in the objective for his team. 6 captures to his name on a 3 streak. He continues to push out jungle or push out spa wherever his team needs him. OpTic Nation up by 45 seconds.
Ricky is gonna get the scrap points, and with 4 minutes gone, we see a lead of around 50 points here for the guys on OpTic Nation. They will be happy with this. They went 2-0 down in this series, remember. If they can take this map, they will be right back in it and take it to game number 5. The hard point is gonna go in favor of OpTic Nation. They're just extending their lead, breaking the 100-point mark.
They're winning the rotations. They're doing a better job of holding down the hill. A nice headshot from Mochilla on another streak. Make it 7 almost as he gets cut down. A full 1-minute lead for OpTic Nation, and we're not even halfway through the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking good for OpTic Nation. I've got to say, they're really hotting things up. 17-5 at the moment. Mochilla 22-15. What great work from OpTic Nation.
Now we got to go to the analyst desk right now. The European boys are getting absolutely dominated. They're going to need some help. I got to ask you, Gunch and Swan, what do you see going wrong for these guys? What can they fix to have a better second half of this hardpoint?
Well, Jack, thanks for throwing it over, and thanks for roasting all of us Europeans here. You're outnumbered about 1,000,000-1, so I look forward to seeing you outside of the casting room. But anyway, as we're moving on to this next hill, really, OpTic Nation, Gunch, they've just had pretty much a full ideal setup, and they managed to milk, what, 50, 60 seconds off that last hill?
Yeah, they seem to just be completely controlling every hill, taking the maximum. They're taking about 40 seconds out of each hill, which is exactly what you need to be winning. But what we notice on the P4 hill, I notice all the time with European teams, they don't execute the actual hold of the hill, whereas American teams are a lot more. They got a lot more knowledge in actually executing, pushing out the spawns and stuff like that. Is where a lot of European teams lose a lot of time on. But at the minute, it's all OpTic Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you take a look at the quick look at the scoreboard, folks, every member of OpTic Nation is positive, which is strange to see, to be honest, given the fact that, as I mentioned previously before the series started, they're not particularly the most Slane-orientated team. nevertheless, you've even got players such as Bose, who is renowned for his objective play. He's positive. You know, Ricky, Moch, obviously putting up the kills with the AR and holding it down.
Yeah, it's hard to pick out one particular player going off here because every single time I see a different player breaking hills, getting a 2 or 3 piece, we saw Michilla do it, we saw Miracles do it at the start of the game. So if they keep it up, it's just going to be, it could be a 100-point club at the minute.
Yep, now we're going to throw it back over to the casters, folks, but I do want to mention that this is absolutely imperative that Epsilon manage to hold this next rotation. If not, the game could be over.
Thanks, Swan. I love everyone in Europe. Europe is a fantastic place. Please don't kill me. I want to live through this weekend.
I think that was the wise thing to do, but we've got to say here, great analysis there from Swanee and Gunshi, but as we can see on our screen, it is about a 60-point game here right now. Rated getting taken down there, but Epsilon really need to step things up, and they need to do it right now.
They held the rotation for about the first 10 seconds. OpTic Nation able to break in, but a nice chain of kills from the sub players. Embo's doing all he can, picks up 2, not able to connect with the 3rd, but with the help of Mochilla, a clean break coming from OpTic Nation. They've regathered their 60-second lead, and they're looking to pull away with this one.
Yeah, the kill feed is all OpTic Nation, Mochilla, Miracles, Embos. It is all them. Ricky as well. I'm going to flick onto Ricky just to see what he's up to. He's going for the spawns on this next one. He's got that ball in hand, and he's going for a one-on-one gunfight. Rated getting the better of him there.
OpTic Nation ended that comeback uplink positive 20 in the slang department. As of right now, they're positive 20 in this game number 4, doing a much better job of winning their gunfights inside and outside the hard point, and it reflects in the score as they are now up by 80 seconds. Ricky entering in the hill, picks up 1. Mad Cat killing his own teammate. Nothing going right for Epsilon at the moment.
Yeah, that lead is just extending in OpTic Nation's favor. You can see players hitting their 30 bombs. Ricky on 31, Mochilla 34 and 25. We've got to say, you know, that key player matchup versus Mad Cat, there is only one winner in this game, and that goes to Mochilla. You know, 182 to 92. You know, can they come back from this?
To be quite honest with you, Momo, they need a flawless final 2 minutes if Epsilon want to close out this series in 4 games. OpTic Nation set up to force the Game 5. Mad Cat sitting at 31 and 32. The rest of his squad continuing to struggle. And Momo, I gotta say, while we mentioned Mad Cat so much as really the key player on this team, I think the bigger factor is the rest of his teammates stepping up and matching the intensity and the numbers he can put up in any of these respawn game modes. Right now, it is not going in their favor. They're still down by about a minute and a half. The 3-piece coming out of Mad Cat, unable to get the 4th.
I mean, Mad Cat has been doing some stellar work here. 3-piece, 2-piece here and there, but it is just a little bit too late at the moment. There is 90 seconds left on the clock. They are about 70 seconds behind. They, as you say, they need a flawless game, and they're doing exactly that at the moment, but can they keep this up? Yeah. Joey's trying to push out and get a few kills, even on his own teammate. Mad Cat gets taken down.
Really, they can still win this game, but they need to hold down every second of it. Embos finds 2 kills. Miracles gets 1 of his own, and every second that ticks by is absolutely crucial. They only have 4 seconds to work with. With that break from OpTic Nation, that should just about do it. It's still mathematically possible. But yeah, that's all. We are going to a Game 5. The games this championship Sunday, Momo, have been absolutely nuts.
You know, I can't agree more. You know, 14 captures for Joe, 14 for Reedy. You know, when you're putting numbers up like that, and unfortunately, they're not going to take this. Reedy and Ray trying to do everything he can and trying to narrow this win. And you've got to say, you take the hats off for him. Look at the kills.
Yeah, really, I got to give a shout out to the boys on OpTic Nation not getting discouraged. They've been able to bounce back in this series. It's now all tied up 2-2. If you are just tuning in, if you're just waking up there in the Americas, game and series number 1 of the quarterfinals went over to Infused. They were able to take down Elevate 3-2 in that best of 5. Then FaZe came out and beat Envy 3-1, one of the closest uplinks we've seen throughout all of AW. A last-second dunk from Looney propelled them to that Game 4, but unfortunately FaZe dominated in the hard points. In our quarterfinal number 3, which is going on right now, OpTic Nation is able to tie it up 2-2. There's a look at Miracles having a monster game there with the rest of his team, clutching up when they needed to most.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, you know, 340 bombs, a lot of kills there. It was so hectic, and when you got 2 teams so closely matched, you're going to see this. But, you know, first hardpoint goes to Epsilon. Second hardpoint, you know, goes to OpTic Nation. We saw the first Search and Destroy go so dominantly in favor of Epsilon. Will they do the same on game from number 5?
Yeah, really a thing to look out for in this next S&D for me is how do Ricky and Embos bounce back from a shaky Game 2. We both know that if they play to their full potential, this OpTic Nation lineup should be able to take this one with ease. But unfortunately for them, they're going up against a European squad that has so much on the line. You know Epsilon is going to put everything into this match. They want a chance at that 100K.
Yeah. Mad Cat has a lot to prove this weekend. We've touched on it a few times already. New addition to the squad. He wants to, show why he deserves that top 4. He's replaced Marky B in this squad. Now, Marky B is on in Team Infused. He's already made that top 4 position, taking down the likes of Team Caliber, Elevate as well, really showing what a player he is. So Mad Cat's hungry for this. Rated, we've seen in previous, videos as well, just showing that Epsilon are here to win.
And really, this Epsilon lineup is very new, with Mad Cat now being on the team, obviously switching out for Marky B. And I'd make the argument that really Epsilon and Infused have both improved from this team change. Mad Cat fitting in very well with this roster. Between him and Dinge, there's so much noise in that booth, players getting hyped. Now Mad Cat on the Infused lineup, they're still alive in this Gfinity Summer Championship. They're going to be facing off against FaZe after our next matchup, which is OpTic Gaming versus Vitality. You can see there the players just hopping in the firing range, getting ready. Some have to go to the bathroom prior to this Game 5. Now, Momo, I got to ask you, Riot, Search and Destroy, what's going to be your key to victory for either of these squads?
I'm going to go down to Miracles and Joe. We said it in the first Search and Destroy, and I'm going to say it in the second again. This is one where you'll see a lot of quick bomb plants on on that road. But whether someone will pull out a sniper rifle, I'm not too sure. I don't know if you have any intel on the OpTic Nation squad. But on Epsilon, you're going to see the likes of maybe Reedy pulling one out.
Well, we really didn't see one from OpTic Nation there in the first S&D. Epsilon pulled it out a couple times to pick Ricky off that S3 area. I fully expect them to do the same thing on defense here on Riot. Will they wind up having an attached type of play where he hops on S2, snipes right down that A street, and tries to get first blood or any intel for his team? It's going to be key to victory to see if they can play around that Morse in a positive way. If you are just tuning in, Games 1 and 2 went over to Epsilon. Games 3 and 4 went to OpTic Nation, completely outslaying their opponents. Their guns are hot right now, hopping into this S&D. Embos and Ricky cannot afford to go a combined 2 and 14 here in Game 5 like they did in Game 2.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I've got all the faith in the world for those guys to bounce back. They had a bit of a shaky first Search and Destroy. Those aren't the Search and Destroy plays that we know. Miracles, we saw some ridiculous stats before this game, like kill-death ratio of 2.68. He had 40% kills for OpTic Nation. That's probably even more now. But you guys at home, get involved on social media, Twitter, Facebook, everything. Tweet us who is going to win this match. OpTic Nation, Epsilon eSports. I really don't know how to call it. But at Gfinity, #SummerChamps, get involved at home.
And be sure to tweet the stream out as well. Get everyone in here. The matches so far today have been absolutely crazy. And there's still so much action here on Championship Sunday. You do not want to miss this. I think everyone's been saying this is the most prize money on the line ever in Europe, right? The $100,000?
In the UK for sure. I mean, Gfinity just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And it's good to see. And we see these European teams as well battling it out. Yep. It's not just all Americans, which is good to see too.
Be sure to look up the Gfinity Twitter to check out the giveaway that's been going on all weekend long. Game 5 starting momentarily between OpTic Nation and the boys on Epsilon. Now, Momo, the next series coming up, Vitality versus OpTic Gaming. We saw Vitality take down TCM yesterday to stay alive in the bracket, 3-0. Do you think they have what it takes to take down the sister team of OpTic Nation?
I have to say I would never bet against OpTic Gaming. I put them as my favorite to win the tournament. A lot of people were towards FaZe. I kind of favored OpTic, so I can never bet against them. But Vitality's current performance, Watson is on fire. Josh and Tommy, they're the veterans of the scene. But it's phenomenal. But let's stay on board with this one. Let's see the maps and how they've got on so far throughout this tournament and this series already.
A look back on what we've seen so far. Game number 1 went all the way down to that school hardpoint. Epsilon narrowly taking down OpTic Nation 230-219. In game number 2, it was really Ricky getting picked off in key areas of the map that led to OpTic Nation's demise. Epsilon able to take that one at a score of 6-2. In comeback Uplink, it was all OpTic Nation, especially on side number 2, scoring 9 unanswered points and closing that one out with ease. In the hard point on retreat, ON was able to squeeze out a 206-140 victory, really taking that one away. Not really in a stressful environment too much throughout the entire game. Was in control, was winning in the slaying numbers, was winning in the hard points, and was really just doing a better job of winning the rotations. Game 5, Riot, Search and Destroy. We're waiting for the final players to get back into the booth. So far this weekend, though, got to give some props to the Gfinity members behind the scenes. It's been a flawless tournament, always on schedule, a great viewing experience as well. But would you expect anything different from the European Premier League?
Absolutely not. I mean, the one thing that I will say, I mean, you know, as you said, Gfinity have been awesome. I hope you guys at home are enjoying it as well as us and everyone here who's paid and, you know, come to the main stage. The atmosphere is electrifying.
It's been packed all day.
I've been told to move. It is a sold out, you know, a sold out stadium, if you like. I mean, this is incredible. But the series that we have on our hands, you know, OpTic Nation at the moment, this is incredible. We've not even seen OpTic Gaming play. You know, we can potentially see the likes of OpTic versus OpTic. We can see OpTic versus FaZe. These are the type of games that we've got coming for you, so do not go anywhere at all.
And FaZe versus Infused, that one semifinal, that'll be happening later on. The European hopes, Epsilon still in this one. They're going to have to clutch up in game number 5. We're hopping into Riot, Search and Destroy. This one can really go either way, but I'm siding with my American brothers. I'm saying OpTic Nation takes this one at a score of 6-4.
We will have to wait and see. It is going to be Riot, Search and Destroy. We're going to see those long, you know, gun battles down that right-hand side. Those quick plants on A. We're going to jump on board with the attacking team. Let's see who that is going to be. It's going to be OpTic Nation.
Off the start, let's quickly hop through the players, see what they're going to be rocking. Bow from everyone on the OpTic Nation team. On the other side of things, it's Reedy with the Moors. Let's see if he can strike first blood for the boys on Epsilon.
I'm going to stay on board with Miracles now. I was hoping he would have an ASM1 in hand to be rushing at the throats of Epsilon, but it is going to be a bit of a diverse B push, and Reedy and Rated are going to be straight up in the face of OpTic Nation here. Let's see what they can do.
Beautiful stuff from Epsilon to live for as long as possible. First blood going to OpTic Nation. The trades coming in, the early number advantage going over to ON. Mad Cat and Joe playing for their lives in the back of the map.
Embos gets taken down by Joe. They even it up 2-2. Joe and Madcat versus Ricky and Mochilla. Madcat gets taken down 1 versus 1. Joe for the 1 versus 2 is currently 2-0. What a stellar performance so far this weekend, but it is all going to come down to the wire. Joe has made a quick getaway here, and I think things are going to just slow down a little bit. Well, let's just flick over to Ricky. Let's see what he's doing.
Love this decision from Joe. He was weak. He immediately got out. Somehow, Ricky was just missing his shots. It's going to be up to OpTic Nation to plant the bomb. A one-on-one, and this is a momentum swing right here. The first round of the game. Crucial between these two players. Ricky, who struggled in game number 2. This could be the confidence boost he needs.
Bomb has been planted. Joe is aware of that. Ricky just hopping around here. We've got to remember Ricky has the ball. Let's flick on board with Joe. See what he's doing. He's rotating right around the map with this ASM1. I mean, right in this position, I've got to favor Ricky.
And you know, Joe doing what basically everyone would expect. The bomb planted towards his back garage area. Joe checking that first. He's not able to spot him. Unfortunately for him, Ricky is across the map, and already with only 18 seconds remaining, Joe's going to need to spot him. In these next few moments, it could wind up happening. Putting some shots down. He's able to win the gunfight. Getting on that bomb. Joe clutching up round number 1 for Epsilon. Big final moments there. I said he's going to have to chase him down. He did just that. 3-0 and the bomb defuse. 1-0 lead for Epsilon EU here in game number 5.
Time and time again, we have seen it throughout this game. You know, this 5-map game series. Joe has been phenomenal. I've got to say, my MVP overall so far. Whether he can continue through the rest of the Search and Destroy, we will have to wait and see. Let's go on board with himself. So let's stick on board with Joe. He's 3-0 at the moment. Why not? He's on the attack, ball in hand.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to be watching the flank, though.
He's going to be in charge of watching the flank for the boys on Epsilon. No one there for OpTic Nation. Looks like they fully predicted that. The 4-man push would come from ON on A Street. They've slowed down the aggression. Love that play call from Epsilon. Basically blind countering ON yet again. Joe spots one player, putting some shots down on him. He's able to get first blood. That's Ricky tying to the hands of Joe yet again.
Yeah, Joe is in a very sticky situation here. 2 versus 2. He did make the first blood here. Mochilla and Embos now against Rated and Reedy. Let's see Rated. He has the bomb. The bomb is going down. And Rated actually has a little bit of time just to get away, get in a position before the boys on OpTic. pounce on them very, very shortly. Rated just taking his time here.
Timing might work perfectly in Mochilla's favor. He's beginning to check the corner of fire, picks up the kill for OpTic Nation. That's going to leave Reedy in the 1-on-2. He's just trying to stay alive, running back through that bus office, rotating towards middle map. Let's hop on board with the player on the bomb. Will he get the defuse in time? The check from Mochilla. He spots him coming through fire, wins that gun engagement. OpTic Nation able to tie it up 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, the defuse went down. Reedy had to do something, and, you know, he had to kind of challenge that. But with the support of Mochilla, you know, there's only one winner, and that is evening things up as we would expect here.
Yeah.
1-1. I think it was the game before we were talking about, which was being casted, and it took, I think, to round number 10. It was Maven quarterfinal number 1, and it was the attacking team won, I think, 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see.
I think that's where the Maven Jesus comment came from. Right now, Mochilla sitting at 4-1. He was 5-1 to start off the game. Number 2, search and destroy. The full flank, though, coming out of Epsilon. They have 2 players trying to catch OpTic Nation off guard. Rated winds up dropping. Joe's able to pick up another kill on Ricky, but the beatdown out of Mochilla and the kill from Miracles will leave Reedy in the 1-on-3.
1-on-3 with the
PDW.
PDW.
And that's a terrible spot to be in.
Yeah, you don't want to be there. I mean, Reedy, he's a search and destroy player. He knows what he's doing, but he's pulled out the sniper rifle. It didn't favor him in that position. And again, we see the attacking team pull off another victory.
This is where, as a team, you need to kind of talk about, is the sniper doing enough work for us right now? Reedy left without a primary weapon, deciding to pull out that PDW, loses that gunfight there on the A Street. Epsilon finds themselves down 2-1. OpTic Nation now on defense. Can they sneak out a defensive victory?
Now, Mad Cat is 0-3 now. This is something we never, ever see. He's going to get a few hit markers with those stun grenades. Just back off a little bit. And, you know, they're on the attacking side. They should be taking the victory here. Let's see what Rated is doing. I believe the bomb was going down. Shots fired.
He's able to stay alive momentarily. Big, big play from him. Just pulling back, hiding behind the blue dumpster. You can see split setup from OpTic Nation. 2 players pushing from their S3. 2 players pushing from across the map. First blood going to the boys on Epsilon. The bomb is yet to be planted.
Yeah, Rated is really biding his time here. Only 50 seconds left. So 4 versus 3 in favor of Epsilon right now. So, you know, I think there is potential to get this bomb down. Miracles was first to fall. The bomb is doing that as we speak. He needs the support of his team. Just flicking over to Reedy there. Rated gets taken down. 3 versus 3.
The bomb was still planted, though.
Yes.
So time is ticking. OpTic Nation going to need to chase down these final 3 kills or get the Ninja defuse. As of right now, though, hesitating just a little bit. The push has begun. The first gunfight happening down that A Street. Looks like Embos gets the better of Mad Cat. He's going to begin to push into this police building. Reedy trying to stay alive. You can see all 3 hours of arrows of OpTic Nation beginning to charge in. Embos finds the second of this round. He's on a 4 streak. Joe, the last alive, with 12 seconds remaining. He's going to need to stop the defuse. Will he peek just in time? It's still being defused, and he picks up both kills. An absolutely big turn of events. But
yeah, no,
they were able to do it. Okay, I thought for a second OpTic Nation got the defuse, but no. The body stack coming out of Embos. Rough positioning there, even if Embos was able to trade the kill. I don't think he would have had enough time to defuse.
And look who it was again. Once again, it's Joe.
Clutching up for his team.
He's doing exactly what Urban did on Search and Destroy for his team. 8-2 currently. That is pretty much every kill for his team. Mochilla on the other side, 6-2. Let's see what he can do. He's really heating up as a Search and Destroy specialist as we know him. Stun grenades going out. Looks like this aggressive attack onto A once again.
What is that? Out of Reedy, charging right down the A Street was the bait for his 2 teammates to push out of S1. The number advantage going to Epsilon. The boys on OpTic Nation beginning to pull out. Embos strikes on Joe. It's now a 2-on-2.
Yeah, now this could be potentially a defensive win. However, let's not rule out OpTic Nation. Ricky has the bomb. Let's jump on board with him. Let's see what he can do. He's just going to get a little bit closer to his teammate.
Who's that in the back of the map from Epsilon? That's Mad Cat.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 1-4, not feeling as confident as he should be. But let's stay on board with Ricky just to make sure this bomb does go down. Mad Cat still is at the back of the map. He's not moving anyway. And there is going to be a gun battle shortly. Ricky finds himself in a sticky situation. Frag grenade.
That nade might have actually, not able to connect. Was so close, but gets the headshot on Rated. Now a 1-on-2. Mad Cat last alive. He falls. OpTic Nation clutching up, giving themselves the 1-round lead.
Absolutely. I mean, again,
Embos was just stalking him.
An attacking round, and Embos, you know, just found Mad Cat. Mad Cat was just caught out of position there. 1 of 5. You know, not the greatest of plays right now from Mad Cat.
Embos and Mochilla a combined 14-5 to start off Game 5 here in this crucial quarterfinal number 3. The winner of this game stays alive and goes on to face the winner of OpTic Gaming versus Vitality. The loser goes home in 5th through 8th place, only taking home around $2,500.
Again, this aggressive play onto A. First kill goes in favor of Mr. Joe himself. Reedy gets taken down 3 versus 3, and that is going to be pretty even right now. Rated has the bomb planted. He's backing off, but he could come into a bit of trouble here if he doesn't be careful. Slows the play down. I like this play from Rated.
One player from Epsilon is flanking yet again all the way around the garage side of the map. You can see Rated still has yet to be spotted by the boys on ON. 20 seconds remaining. Now in a 1-on-3. Rated just staying alive. He's playing this absolutely perfectly. He's just going to kill the bomb diffuser when it matters most. Spots Miracles, puts some shots down. He wasn't able to pick him up with 12 seconds remaining. They've got to get the defuse. Challenging yet again, but not able to do it. OpTic Nation winning yet again. Another crucial situation. Now up 4-2. If he was just able to find those shots, Momo, he would have clutched the 1v3 for his team.
Yeah, I've got to say, Rated, he played it very smartly. He didn't rush things, and he needed to basically just make that one play.
Yeah, it was just
He just almost jumped and dashed to the wrong side. If he dashed to the right, he may have pulled that one off. Yeah. But Epsilon now have to win a defensive round. It's 4-2 in favor of OpTic Nation. You know, they didn't perform in the first Search and Destroy, but they definitely turned up here. Reedy with a first blood, though.
There is the prowess with Reedy in regards to that Moors locking down the A Street for his team, striking first blood. Unfortunately, though, Mochilla has completely flanked around the rest of his teammates. Mad Cat going down yet again. He's 1-7 in what is the biggest game of this tournament so far for the boys on Epsilon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference right now.
Yeah.
He's Mad Cat. You know, he's such an important player for Epsilon. And, you know, this Search and Destroy is just not going his way.
2v3. The bomb in the hands of Ricky has yet to begin his plant. You can see the players on Epsilon split across the map. Beautiful pickup there for Mochilla to get that Moors in hand. Will it come in handy? We've yet to be able to see. Miracles getting the entry kill on Joe inside of Hut. Rated left in the 1-on-3. Will he check the bomb in time? It doesn't appear so. Picks up one, gets the second on Miracles. Now in a 1-on-1, Mochilla has the Moors and the ASM-1. He's just hiding inside the fire area, has yet to be spotted. Can Rated do the impossible?
It's going to come down to this 1 versus 1 gun battle. They're going to match up very, very shortly. Mochilla sees it. Those dashes, surely Rated will have heard him. Let's jump up on Rated. That's gone for the defuse.
He's beginning to get on the bomb. Will Mochilla check it in time? Now beginning to push through the middle cuts. He's able to do it with 1 tick remaining. Gets the kill that he needs. Epsilon now down 5-2. They are 1 round away from being eliminated.
5-2. This is not looking good for Epsilon right now. They are, you know, potentially 1 round away from going home. They took the series 2-0 up. They took it by the scruff of the neck. They've gone 2 maps down since then and now found themselves in a game number 5. I don't know how, you know, Epsilon can take this back. Joey's 9-5. He's doing everything he can for his team.
You can see another 4-man push from OpTic Nation. They favor this side all game long. Mad Cat drops yet again. There's another kill on Rated. They continue to push down the A Street. Epsilon just falling apart here in game number 5. Just 2 more kills and OpTic Nation will stay alive in the Gfinity Summer Championships.
I mean, potentially we could be seeing an OpTic versus OpTic semi-final. That would be interesting to say the least. Joey's trying to stop him, and now it's all in the hands of Reedy to stay in the tournament. They've already secured 5th to 8th place to progress to top 4. He needs to stay alive. 1 kill under his belt. Embos from Ricky. 50 seconds left to go.
Reedy rotating towards this B Street. The bomb is down across the map. OpTic Nation in full knowledge of that one. 2 players right next to each other. Whiffing the beatdown now in the 1-on-1. The challenge. Will it come in time for Ricky? It doesn't appear so. Reedy doing all he can to save this tournament for his team.
Reedy taking things very, very slowly. If you look at the minimap, they're in so close. However, those gunfires were not in the right direction. Let's just jump on board with Ricky because he's sneaking up behind him. Only has the ASM-1 though.
That timing for Ricky might have just been so poor. He did hear Reedy on that A Street. On board with Reedy now, going up against these tough odds. 7 seconds remaining. He's going to need to get the bomb planted. Ricky challenges again, putting some shots down as Reedy not able to pick up the kill. Not going to do it. That is it. OpTic Nation winning the game number 5 at a score of 6-2 and moving on to face the winner of Vitality Storm or OpTic Gaming.
Reedy there did absolutely phenomenal. Even to nearly pull off that 1v3. He made 2 great kills. Didn't make the third, unfortunately, for him. However, we see once again at game number 5, OpTic Nation progressing to that top 4 position. Much, like FaZe, we've got Infused there already. Who are we going to see there? OpTic Gaming? Are we going to see Vitality?
The quarterfinals of this tournament have been the absolute best matches we've seen in so long. Epsilon so close to getting that bomb defused. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Mochilla with the 2.20 KD, 11-5, leading OpTic Nation yet again, and Embo stepping up when they needed him most. Ricky, 3 plants to his name, and then Miracles was doing all he could for his team. That one round where he killed Joe inside of Hut was absolutely massive.
Yes.
On the other side of things, a 0.5 KD out of rated was just not enough. Joe, got to give some props to him. There's been some talking throughout the venue. Is Joe the best sub player in all of Europe? He definitely made an argument for it there. Obviously, Jerd now playing in North America. Does he still count? Yeah, he still counts as a European. So both those players very strong, but unfortunately, Epsilon EU has now been knocked out.
Absolutely. Now we are going to see how the guys on the analyst desk thought of that. Up to you, Puckett, on the analyst desk.
A soul-crushing loss there. They were up 2-0, and Epsilon just falls apart. They unraveled the following 3 games. Let's start, though, with the first Hardpoint. Gunch and Swanee, what did you guys really see in game number 1?
First of all, folks, I mean, we called it, mate. We got the prediction right. 3-2 last map, even though they did drop an S&D. What did you predict again, mate?
I took 3-2, but we'll come to the controversy later on.
Anyway, first Hardpoint. Basically, it was relatively close up until one moment, and this is what I've seen throughout the the whole of my time competing. You can usually pinpoint losses or wins on one particular moment in the map, which is sort of the catalyst for how it goes inevitably. And in this one, I think it was the second rotation. It was Mochilla. I think there were 10 points up from the second to the third hill. Mochilla was left on his own, sort of holding spawns. I'm not sure if this is the yeah, it is actually.
Shout out to Trout.
Oh, absolutely, Trout. I don't know if you read my mind or not, but this is the moment where Epsilon broke it. They broke the hill. They just basically flooded ramp, traded kills because Mochilla was left on his own. Now, OpTic Nation, they rotated. They were 10 points up at this, or 10 or 20 points up going into this hill. They left Mochilla on his own. They didn't prioritize spawns, and as a result, Epsilon were effectively just able to flood the hill from multiple ways, take control, and they went on to win the game. Ideally, as I said, what they should have done is help Moch. Really, obviously, help them with Epsilon win with this 3-piece. But when, I've been in this situation multiple times, and whether it's a miscommunication, Moch should have been calling, guys, I need help at the back. They're obviously going to push and prioritize spawns first, but, they just weren't able to acknowledge and rectify that.
The subs were so strong from Epsilon in the final 3 minutes. I think that was kind of one of the major notes that I had written down. Gunchy, Joe, you said he was kind of the player to watch coming into this match.
Yeah.
Definitely living up to all the hype here in game number 1. But let's move it now to this second game, Search and Destroy. Epsilon able to jump out to a 2-0 lead. How were they able to do that?
Well, on the Search and Destroy, it was Solar S&D, and they took such a good lead. I think because of the first map, like I said earlier on in the pre-game show, I said that if Epsilon turn up map 1, that's going to drive them through into map 2, and it certainly seemed that way. I saw Reedy, he was getting time and time again. Momo mentioned that he was getting so many first bloods, and on S&D, as we all know, first bloods are absolutely crucial to winning rounds because then you can just out-trade the other team.
Right.
So that was the catalyst for them to really move on and win this map. It was a difficult one for ON. We saw 2 players. If you have 2 players on your team going 1 for 6, I think, and 1 for 8, you're not going to win the game. It's as simple as that. What Epsilon did really well was mixing up the bombs. They weren't predictable. They weren't just going for the same bomb site, just going for B or just going for A, one round after another. They were just mixing it up really well, and that's what I like about seeing them on S&D.
There's a little bit of mind games going down there from Epsilon. Also, you saw, Reedy on a 4 streak early going into that round 4, and then Madcat ends with a 4 streak at the end of that round 4. And I think that's the best way to beat up on OpTic Nation is you got to get out ahead of them early on. And coming off that big loss after the hard point, I loved seeing Epsilon able to jump on that opportunity. Swanee, though, in that game, too, what were some of the major notes that you had written down?
I mean, just absolutely reinforce both points Gunch made. Number one, just the importance of kind of variety and employing just different strategies in every round, mixing it up. And that was why it made it so hard to analyze for me, because Epsilon were just switching it up every time. They didn't really have one uniform strategy. Search and Destroy, it's just all about mixing it up and kind of just blind countering, just countering what the other team are doing. and just reacting to their plays basically. And Epsilon were a lot more effective. And as Gunch said, Ricky and Bowes 1-8 and 1-7, disappointing performances from them.
And those are kind of your search superstars. Like on paper, you look at this squad and you're like, oh, Ricky and Bowes, they have such a rich history in search and destroy. This is their strength. Underperforming there, but it was game number 3 where OpTic Nation was able to just turn the tide. I said it might happen on comeback, and these guys win in Uplink. Again, Europe losing another Uplink game. No real surprise here, but I was really impressed by the strength of OpTic Nation.
Similar to the previous game, actually, the FaZe and Envy game, where FaZe had Zuma going off, just that one player where everyone else was kind of slacking behind. To kind of adapt that to the Epsilon situation, they had Madcat, who was sort of providing the majority of slaying. Aside from him, everyone was kind of slacking in the whole slaying department, and that was kind of trying to transfer to the fourth respawn as well, the Hardpoint. So in both the final respawns, OpTic Nation, whether they just were more comfortable or they just started to get warmed up and their guns started, shooting, they were just able to pull away. But yeah, kind of disappointing performance from Epsilon. You need to have kind of all guns blazing if you're to win at this level.
But what I did notice was, from Epsilon's point of view, when you're getting beaten that badly, it's really important. With like 2 minutes left, you say to your teammates, listen, we're not going to win this map. We're down by, 15 points. You need to say to each other, you need to gather some confidence. They didn't do that at all. Like, the stats, like, I don't like looking at the stats, to be honest, but stats said everything from that particular game type. They were just, I think 3 people were almost double neg. You need to gather some momentum for the next map by just getting your shot warmed up. Just not, like, the fact that they were outslaying him so badly just would have made him so, like, demotivated, and that's what happened in the next map.
I was really impressed by Embos as well. Not the best slaying in game number 1, pretty even there, but he exploded the first half, 13 and 7, and he continued in the first 2 minutes of the second side. You can see him here, 22 and 13, already working on those uplinks as well with some assists earlier. There's his first point in the game. Miracles and Moch really controlling the spawns once they got the opportunity. That was kind of the difference maker in the second half for me.
I mean, just take a quick look at the scoreboard, folks. Look at it kind of exemplifies just what me and Gunch were touching on there. Madcat, 20 kills. The rest of his teammates, 11, 13, and 9, as you said. All
and Joe is just non-existent.
Yeah, all just about double negative, sorry.
Going into game number 4, this was match point, again for Epsilon. Couldn't close it out. What happened there in that second hard point on retreat?
Completely agree with Gunch again. I think it was just a case of when you get demolished 19-6 and it was an absolute demolition that OpTic Nation did to them, you're going to be demoralized. You're going to be down, and that affects slaying, and in turn that's going to affect the result of the game and sort of your decision making. 40, I think it was above 40 kills Moch ended up with as an AR, and conversely Ricky as an SMG ended up with 40 kills. When you've got the guy in the hill making kills and the guy holding spawns making kills, it's going to be so hard to win the game.
It was really fun actually to watch Moch and Madcat throughout this series. It wasn't just the battle. You see him here on a 5 streak rocking the ASM-1. A lot of versatility being shown by both parties.
No, absolutely. And Jack actually made a point. He proved me wrong that Moch was actually a lot more aggressive than I expected. He ended up with quite a few captures. Strange because it's usually, there are a lot of hills on that map where you don't want the AR to be in the hill whatsoever. We saw, Clay be a perfect example of it in the previous match where he just on the 3rd hill, sit outside, let your SMGs flood in, prioritize spawns, prioritize sort of holding down the long range cuts. But yeah, largely down to Moch. And I mean, just to compliment Moch even more, I know we played against him on that exact map retreat at UMG and he dropped a 40 on us. So that kind of seems to be his territory, so it'll be interesting if they manage to progress in the tournament, how he's going to do should retreat come up again.
Final S&D, Gunch, there was that real controversial moment. You can see kind of the crowd reaction potentially causing some problems there for Epsilon as they were going for the Ninja Defuse. But leading up to that moment, what did you see from either team?
So it started off really well from Epsilon were really, really good at getting the bomb down and just playing as a team, not being incomplacent and just running in hopelessly. I didn't like how OpTic Nation went into B-bomb first. I like to see teams establish dominance on the A-bomb site first.
Yeah.
Which is what they didn't do, and they lost Epsilon actually won a defense straight away off the rip, and that should have been the catalyst for them to carry on and win the game, but that's not how it went. It was quite a weird one. It wasn't by the book. It was more of like taking the defenses off each other. But yeah, we got up to the 4-2. And can we talk about this controversy now?
Real quick, if you can, Trout, I would love to show Joe from round number 4. This was kind of the highlight of the early part of the game. Joe, 1-on-2. You're going to see Reedy kind of forced back by some grenades. And really, Joe just making it all come together at the end. Able to pick up some big kills there on Moch in the back. Then he sprints over. 14 seconds left. Your opponents are going to have to go for the defuse. gets shots on Ricky first, and then Embos just walks into it. That's a huge momentum starter here, and you see Dinge getting the boys fired up. Nice job by OpTic Nation to cancel that back out the following round.
Now, I want to be controversial and actually criticize not Joe, but the team specifically, because although Gunshed, you know, in the first few rounds, they were fairly effective at sort of team pushes. Whether this was just, you know, OpTic Nation recognized from the first S&D and adapted their strategy, it seemed as though as the game progressed, Epsilon became a lot more sort of individual in their pushes. And you know, despite the fact that Joe did get 2 1v2s to kind of keep them in it, that's what it was. It was relying on individual plays. Right. And when someone wasn't making those individual plays or those pushes, you know, if you take a look at the minimap in S&D, folks, like, that's one piece of advice I'd give the spectators is pay attention to the minimap because, you know, there are so many plays. For example, I think Joe flanked one round and it was relying on him getting that kill. And when he didn't get the kill, they lost the round. So they were so spread out, they were so sporadic in comparison to OpTic Nation, where all of their pushes were sort of together. They were able to, they were in trading positions. But I think we're going to take a look at the controversial moment, which was in the 4th round.
Yeah, go ahead, Gunch. This is round 7.
So yeah, this has happened to us at TCM at 5-5, and it's absolutely like it's a horrible feeling. So I think it was Machilla planted the bomb. Rated got a 2-piece. It was a 1v1 Machilla versus Rated. Machilla backs off into P1. We're going to see it in a second. It's about 22 seconds on the clock when it comes up. So Machilla here, he's going to go and hide. He checks the bomb, then he goes back and hides. Rated is like, right, I'm going to jump on the bomb. So if you see here, we can see Machilla just sitting there chilling, and then we go back to Rated. It comes down to about 2 clicks away from him defusing it. The caster says the word diffusing, and Machilla hears it. As soon as he's heard that voice, he's gone over and checked the bomb and killed Rated off the bomb. Look at Dinge's face there. He's absolutely furious. It does happen from time to time. It's not a nice feeling. But yeah, it's honestly, that'll be the talking point of this game for them.
You can't let that get to you, though. You can't.
Yeah.
Mid-match, you need to just take it in your stride. If that happens, you move on, you put it in the back of your mind and just focus on the next round.
And you said after seeing their faces, you're like, they're done.
As soon as that happened, the game was over. Like, as soon as you sort of react to that, it's in the back of your mind for the entire game.
So I think that's one thing that we've learned here for the audience live as well as the casters. If there is an intense moment like that, it's hard not to react, just gut reaction when you're excited about it, but keep it to yourself. We don't want to affect the game. For now, though, let's send it down to the floor. We got Mike Kent with our winners. OpTic Nation takes the series. He's got Miracles.
We're here with Miracles. Miracles, that was a tough game. What happened? You went 2-0 down. What did you guys say to bring it back?
We just kept our heads up, honestly, man. We stayed positive. We knew we were a better team, and we knew just the last 2 matches weren't in our favor. And we just played smart, and we stayed positive, and it benefited us.
European opposition, what's it like playing against them compared to Americans?
In S&D, man, S&D, they are creative, man. I've never seen people play S&D like that. It was actually breathtaking because they'd come this way, and then all of a sudden you get flanked, and it'd be mind-blowing, man. So I got to give them S&D. S&D is strong for them.
Was there anything that you guys said when you were 2-0 down that really changed it in your mindset and thought, we need to change this around?
Yeah, we knew the 3rd map was Uplink, and that's one of our best game modes. So we knew if we just won that, we knew we could bring it back because Hardpoint Retreat was one of our good maps, and then S&D Riot is, I don't think we've ever lost S&D Riot, so we were blessed with that map being last. So.
What's it like playing in London again? Is it good to be back here?
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the environment. I love the people. I love the food. I just love everything about it, man. The competition. I like how I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the single limb, but I don't know, man. I like it. It's more competitive, man. You only get one chance, and if you mess up, man, you're going home.
There's a little bit of controversy in the S&D. I think it was 4-2 or something like that, and it looked like there was some sort of signal given to someone in the team in order to, know they were diffusing. What happened there?
Honestly, I think Moch, because Moch was in the 1v1, I think he just played his odds, man. It was 20 seconds left. He didn't hear him boost, so obviously he had to be diffusing, and Moch just went for it. And just luck, he got it. Happened to kill him.
You might be playing OpTic Gaming next, providing they win against Vitality. What will it be like playing against, fellow teammates, essentially?
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome, man. Honestly, man, this is gonna be the rival. This is gonna be the match to watch, because I think the last time we played him was Ghost. So it's been a while, man. It's time to get some payback. It's time to take that championship from them.
I guess you guys play against each other a lot. Is there things that that they do that perhaps other teams don't?
Yeah, I don't know. They just honestly, they slay heavy, man. They're just a heavy slaying team. They have the gun skill. They have the smarts. So you honestly just got to be on your A game, man. And that's the only way you'll beat them.
Coming into this tournament, what was what did you guys say to each other about what you wanted to achieve placement-wise?
Just to be positive, man. Come in with good vibes. Just give it your all, and you can't be mad with that.
Excellent. Well, this has been Merrick's from OpTic Nation. We're going to go back to the studio to talk with Chris, Swanee, and I believe it's Gunchi.
You're good at it, Mike. He knows your voice well, Gunch. Gunch, we've got 3 down.
1 to go.
1 to go. You surprised to see Epsilon not here, or did you think? I know you predicted Epsilon.
Them right, but I thought when OpTic Nation play how they did then, they deserve to be there. And it's going to be interesting as well if they do end up playing OG, which is most likely going to happen. You know, it's the 2 brother teams. It's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Overall, what have you been impressed by from OpTic Nation?
Just the way they're gelling as a team. Like it's very similar to how they came out last event when they came top 4. You know, so most events they don't actually come out and play as well as they're actually doing right now. Normally they're around the top 8 teams. They never actually stride on to get into like top 3 or anything like that. But every time they come out to London, I know Miracles loves coming to London, so they must just love it coming over here. And they always seem to, the Hippodrome, yeah. So they always seem to gel really well. And I'm really impressed with how they're all playing, to be honest.
Swanee, out of everyone that you've seen so far today, we've seen 3 matches, 6 teams. Who is the I guess strongest squad at the moment? Is it still FaZe?
Yeah, I mean today obviously it has to be FaZe. I mean they've had the hardest game today. They've came against the hardest opposition, Envy, who in this tournament and overall they could be considered a top 3 team. OpTic Nation, props to them. You know, one thing I'd really like about OpTic Nation is there's not particularly one player who has to go off or is been going off in the match. It's just been a collective team performance, and as I said before the match, that's something they're renowned for. Not particularly just one superstar slayer, but everyone contributing.
Well, so far we've seen 3 matches. 1 upset. Infused is into the Final 4. OpTic Nation able to secure their spot as well as FaZe. When we return, though, we have our 4th quarterfinal. OpTic Gaming taking on Tommy and Team Vitality.
You wanna rub my boner?
Here comes the money. Money, money, money. Dollar, dollar.
Wait, you're not on it? I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm on it. I'm on it. Where are you at?
Choice it would be, but he doesn't pull it. Gets it. There's one.
Oh
it's
no,
gonna be
he's
close.
Snipe. Oh, he gets the second one. Play the MVP with the 2 snipes. All smiles, high fives coming from attached. The birthday boy able to pick it up.
Wow, and look at that, the accuracy there. And I mean, you know, in those close quarters.
They didn't really have full control. They were defending the flag over and over again. And another thing with doing it, eventually you will get overwhelmed in that position. The other team will be able to eventually break it, maybe get a 2v themselves. Oh my goodness!
There's the 4-2. Can he pick it up? He gets it.
Oh my goodness!
entire team at TCM taken out in a matter of seconds. Attach, man, he is young, he is still developing as a player, but God, he is disgusting.
Can't you see me? Am I invisible again? Can't you feel me like that mysterious pain? Can't you hear me? Am I fading away? Scared to breathe me, runs the memory away. Can't you see me? Like that mysterious pain.
Especially, you know, it's not like this is a, you know, a basketball game or football game. You can put 2 defenders on them or something. Like, this game is so fast-paced that Scump is gonna wreak havoc no matter what. It's gonna be Krim, your drone carrier, right off the break. He's got 1 player to beat at home, 1 behind him on defense. You see the stunts coming in, able to get sharp. Took, you know, the magnetism with the drone there, and it went through for 1. What might have been a dunk, hopefully that doesn't end up hurting him, because if he stayed on the ground there, I think he would have caught that and been able to just jump up and fire it through. Battle against the ASM1, the timing here isn't going to work out. He's going to push. He should be able to win this. Got by with it, and there it is. And actually, Krim, he had the ballot as well, so he wins this one close range. Great shots coming in there. Hits the archer, and able to take out Parasite.
Formal striking first for OpTic, got the 2-piece, Sharp and Nameless down. So 4v2 in favor of OpTic. I think OpTic wins this round. Formal, that's a 3rd one.
Let's see if Formal can get the ace. It's just Parasite left to deal with it. He's got him in sight, and there's the ace from Formal. And how easy did he make those final shots look on the ace? Like, so easy. Those aren't easy shots. You're basically going over a Hegless there at the Humvee, flying through the air. Look at how accurate. Oh, wait, was it Scump that got it?
Go back uplink, go back uplink. Spawn square. We spawn purple. I spawn purple. One on me. One more, mirror these guys. One shot, nice. I'm going for it. Oh, yeah. I'm here with you. Do I stomp you? Good shot.
So just trying to slay these TK players out, making them spawn over, and this is exactly what they're doing. They're getting the time in the hill, they're getting kills in and around it as well, and that's why they have this lead. And the lead's just extending. Some puts shots into one of his teammates, doesn't take him out though. There we go. Scump able to take out Sharp. Can he get 2? There's 2. Can he get 3?
Get the 3rd.
He cannot get it though.
Stuff by Scump. You saw him with the big plays on the last Hardpoint, going up big in this one as well. 2 minutes left in the matter of seconds. We'll see if Formal can get it done. He's able to clean up 2. There's a 3rd out to his right, but he will fall.
Like that mysterious pain. Can't you hear me? Like that mysterious pain.
The second rotation, which is going to be coming up in a second here on the Turtle Hill, will be the big one. So I'm going to zoom on here.
Look at Karma going off right now, man. Like, there's no one even contesting it. Now they're all coming in from poolside, and now look at Karma. Oh, getting a nice 2-piece.
Karma lining up.
He's loving it, man.
They're controlling the lanes with the valve. There's just only so many kills to go around.
Nope.
And
Scump's just feeling himself right now, man.
Yeah, Scump's got a 2-piece in the hill.
He's on a 3 streak right now.
Completely locked it down. They've just hit the 100 points left. Have the advantage. There's 3 lined up in front of him. Gets 2.
I thought it was going to happen.
You know, talking with Karma again before the event, he talked about the fact that he was getting a lot more comfortable being that drone carrier. He gets that pass forward,
pretty
and
obvious.
You see it connects there with Scump as he will put through the dunk. Homage, I swear. But there you see from the view of Formal as another dunk comes through Brelway. Formal able to pick up 3 kills there. I believe there's someone there to grab it. It's going to be Scump. Scump already home free. The plays coming out of OpTic.
Doing now, trying to push straight through to the B bomb site. Formal picks up 2, Scump with 1. Yeah, fantastic route by Karma. He's going to put that one in.
I didn't think he got in for a second. I thought that player got a pull.
Nah, he got in.